All right, we are live, and the New York Mets have us doing fans-only meetings. That's the world we're in right now. We are back to the dark place, to the Mets place, and this place is brought to you by Coors Light because we got to believe it's presented by Coors Light. Coors Light is the partners with the Mets, and goddamn if we don't need a Coors Light right now because it is the beer that helps you chill. And man, oh man, the only thing chillier than a Coors Light is the Mets corpse right now as they play these baseball games against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But when you're juggling work, family, and the busyness of summer in general, it's easy to feel the pressure, but that doesn't mean you have to lose that chill. There are plenty of chances to make things better by choosing chill. So I'm drinking my Coors Light every night. I pop it open. I feel great. The mountains are blue. I'm like, another night, Mets baseball. We're going to get on that winning streak, and then we lose. But then the Coors Light helps me chill. So New York, choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Proud partners of the New York Mets. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And boys, not only are we doing an episode where we are dredging up some bad feelings, we're doing an OG episode. It's me and KFC. We're doing Mets therapy all over again. And we're gonna. So if Kyle, Phil, they want to hop on, they can hop on. I'm gonna send it to the group. I don't think I sent it. I think I just sent that to you. But if anyone, we're going to have caller section later because we're all going to go through this together. Everyone in the chat, you guys could talk it out. Mm-hmm. And I think there's no, what do they call it? There's no holy cows or holy, like everyone's on the table. I think everyone's going to take some shrapnel. I think our
listen, nobody's safe right now. Nobody's safe. And that includes us. I love that it's us right now because back when it was like 2018 or 14, 16, all those horrible years where we were just churning out this podcast. And we kept saying, now we've been rewarded with Cohen and this team. And we're back in the trenches. We're back in the trenches. And that's okay. Because it was never going to be easy. It was never going to be easy. And everybody's going to take some shrapnel. Everyone's going to take some accountability. I'm starting with myself. A, I'm going to blame my kids. They did not get me the Father's Day hat. That's a problem. B, as soon as I said that maybe we're going to have an easy summer, that we've reached a point where it's like summer of 2006, that I reached a point where when I come out of work and I check a day game, I expect to be in the lead. And I just check scores to see who hit the home run today and who's the star today. Yep. As soon as I said all those things, literally, like that was the high watermark. It was all downhill since then. I should know better. That's on me. Hand up. I've been doing this too long to get that cocky. I would have told you that 50, 60, 70, 80 games in was enough for you to say, okay, we are just a good team and we're going to be here. But I should have known better because we are still the New York Mets. And as much as Cohen has got that stank off of us, there are some smells, Clem, that just they just stay in like your bones, you know? Like when you're really hungover and deathly ill and you've been drinking for 20 years, it's still like in your skin. Before you can make all the changes, but it's still a part of who you are. And that's where we're at right now. I've never been so conflicted on a team because I was trying to think. We've had bad teams that are really bad. We've had teams that we expected to be good that are really bad. We've had teams that we expected to be bad that are good. Have we had a team that we expected to be good and then was good and was good for like a really long time, a long enough sample that I was like, I think we all could agree we were just going to be one of the good teams. By the way, I still think we are one of those, but have we had a team that we thought was going to be good, was good, settled in and kind of got like confident, and then lose 13 of 16 as what we're about to do right now. And like not just a skid, not just a losing streak, a 13 of 16 against important teams and against bad teams that makes you question everything. Have we had that? I feel like usually it's either a dumpster fire from the jump or we get hot and then we keep going. But do we ever get hot and then get this bad? And like, I just don't know where we're at. I don't know what to think right now. I've never experienced a team like this, I don't think.
I mean, shit, if you want to just be fucking real about it, end of 2007 kind of was like, I was going to say. Okay, but that's a collapse, though. That's a collapse.
Yeah, 7 was also a collapse that, like, I think if the season was 4 weeks longer instead of 2-week collapse, like I think we would have righted the ship. Like we were a good enough team for a long time, and then we just had this 13 of 16 happened like at the end of the season. If the Mets just turn it around right now, It's just a shitty, really nasty cold streak. But have we ever just like, what if we don't? What if we just don't turn around? What if this pitching, what if the Lab and Hefner and Stearns and everything, just the magic ran out? I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but have we ever had that where it's like, hey, we're good. Everyone's talking about us like being one of the best teams in baseball. And then not just a collapse, not just like a 10-day, 2-week span, just a straight up, oh no, you were lucky for half a season and totally dog shit for the other half.
Yeah, I mean, like if we had Clemmer, he could be like, well, actually, the 1987 Mets.
Right. But I don't think in our recent years we felt this.
No, I'm thinking like, could Phil get us through anything? And I don't think he would just rip the shit out of every good team that we.
Right.
The 22 season was so fucking weird. It's just we just ran out of gas. I feel like that year. This is new. I think this is a new feeling, and that comes with being on the good side of the like money world that we live in now. Mm-hmm. But at the same point, we all did feel like, and I heard Gary say this yesterday on the broadcast, it's like we all did feel like the bubble was going to burst. We just didn't realize it was going to like burst and then turn into acid rain and burn our eyeballs out and like shit all over us, because that's kind of like, I can't trust the starters. I can't trust the relievers and the hitting. I mean, everyone's going to blame the pitching because the Pirates and 9 runs. I don't even know what they're at now. 10 this game. But like 1 run, 2 run, like you get a rain delay against the Pirates. You get the bullpen. You get a bullpen game from the Pirates essentially, and you score 2 runs yesterday. You can't do that. You just can't fucking do that.
No, you can't. I mean, it's a weird one because it's like, we're the only team in baseball with 4 hitters with 15 home runs. Soto's getting super hot. But we're also dead last in the National League and second to last in runners in scoring position in all of baseball. The pitching was all world for a while, but we knew that it was kind of like it wasn't real because the names doing it were not really reliable. The bullpen had its moment, but then also like bullpens are crapshoots. So it just feels like everything. But I don't know. At the same time, that's also baseball. Like it just feels like other teams, and usually you kind of ebb and flow, and instead we just went up, and down. Like it was all crammed into a good winning streak, and then this horrible losing streak. I don't know. I'm in a weird spot right now. I still feel like we're okay. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just like I'm looking at the chat here. Someone says starting to feel like 2022. That's just not. I mean, no.
The end of 22. He's saying. I think Oakland A's series.
Okay. So all right, that's a good point. So then let's take that as a comparison. The 22 team was all world for fucking 3/4 of the season, right? And then they had that September. I think the A's series was like the first week of September through. If you have a bad 2-3 week stretch at the wrong time, you're fucked. 07, 22. If you have it now. Like right now, the Mets are half a game out of first place. Coming into the season, if I told you that we would be 15, I don't even know what we were at one point 25 games over 500. What are we at now? 15? I don't know, 10, 12, whatever it is.
12 right now.
If I told you right now on June 29th, we'll be 12 games over 500. We will be half a game out of first place. We would have been in first place for a bunch of the season. I don't think anybody would have said no to that. So it's just like, obviously, the huge caveat here is, do you turn it around? But when you do something like this at the end of the season in 07 and 22, you're fucked. If you do it in the middle of the season, we got the All-Star break coming up. God, I wish we had the All-Star break like this weekend. 2 more weeks is like, never has a team needed a break more than this. But I just like, I think Phillies fans felt this way when they were 0-9. I think the Braves are feeling this still. The Braves are still so bad. Like, I just, I look at the Yankees, like basically the same record. Like, I don't know, when you are this bad just to come back to the pack, I'm just saying we've been through worse. Like someone else said in the chat here, where'd it go? Somebody said like same old team. It's always the same old team, whatever. Yeah, it's not. This is not the same story. We have not heard this story before. We have not done this story where we were 25 games over, cruising throughout the season, thinking we were going to have an easy summer. People predicting us to be one of the best teams in baseball. Now you have a bad losing streak, but you're not gone. You're not out of it. We're half a game out of first place. So I just don't. That's bullshit too. I saw his comment. That's what you factor in.
KFC versus the chat. Hey, I love the chat. I'm with you guys.
I love it too. But
this is a good stat though.
No, it's not.
No,
No. You can't, because if you take 13 of 16 out of that, your record's fine. It's not the 55 games, right? If you took 13 wins off of that, 13 losses off of that, you'd be 27-14 or whatever. Like we basically just took 13 losses and added it to our record, which obviously is not good. But you can't start adding that to 55 games because before this stretch, we were fine. No one was looking at, put it this way, if you took 16 away from that 55-game stretch, so what's that, 40, whatever, do the math.
Yeah.
No one at that point was saying, look at our last 40 games, look at our record. No, we were fine. It was good. It's just this 13 of 16. Anything before that, we were good. We were. It might have been a little smoke and mirrors. If you want to tell me that you're not convinced those pitchers are in it for the long haul, Clay Holmes' innings limit was an issue. I don't think it's really been an issue, but people were worried about that. You get an injury, you get some regression. That's all well and good. But everything else, it's just been the wheels came off against Philly, Atlanta, Pittsburgh. It's that.
I don't know if it was before Friday's game against the Pirates. It was before one of these recent games. And the Mets, after all that, were 12-12 with a 0-run differential for the month.
Right.
So after 24 games, we were 12-12, perfectly balanced as all things should be. God knows that was the tagline of this podcast for way too long because this team just could never get too good or too bad, and they'd always be just where you didn't want them to be at the trade deadline. Remember, where we couldn't sell, but then we buy and trade, hypothetically, an MVP candidate who could play center field for a 3-month rental that drove us crazy and was booing its own fans, right? Like, we could never just be, like, really good or really bad. And now we're kind of – but it's like with baseball, it's like you win 10, you lose 3, you lose 10, you win 3. Everyone's getting to this point at this part of the season with these records in just different ways, but everyone's bitching and moaning. Red Sox fans were bitching in the beginning of the season. I think they're bitching now. Yankees fans have been quiet because they've sucked when we've sucked. Phillies fans are ready to jump off buildings. The last couple of weeks they had this 26 2/3 scoreless streak.
For 1 run in 3 games against the Astros. I'm in a battle right now. I'm talking to every single night. Shane Gillis makes fun of me about the Pirates, and I make fun of the Phillies, and we're just in this war of like who is going to fucking disappoint their fan base more. And that's baseball, Susan. That's the way it goes. If I were to tell you that if we end up, like you said, 500 for the month, but it went win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 1, in that fashion, the game is just to get to like, let's say 96 wins, or if you want to make the playoffs, 91 wins, or if you're in a bad division, 86 wins. However you get there. If it's hot in the beginning and then slow in the middle, or if it's just steady, remember 2022 was like we just won 2 out of 3 every fucking time. It was never any long losing streaks, never any long winning streaks. We just kind of always won 2 out of 3. In this case, we were red hot, and then you get cold. It's just like everything does balance out. When we were on pace for 105, 108 wins, I never thought we were going to actually win that many games. So how do we end up here? A big fucking losing streak. Unless you genuinely looked in the mirror and said, I think we're going to win 108 games. If you did that, then you're probably really ready to jump off a bridge. Otherwise, normal fans who thought we were going to win 90-something games, that was what was going to have to happen. Something was going to have to even out, and this is it.
I'm trying to compare this, and apologies. My brain has been shot from these last few years. By the way, we were on a 94 win pace as of that was June 25th. That was a little while ago. Forget it. That was the Braves game. I'm looking at my guy Tony DeComo, who tweets it out after every game, trying to see where we're at. I mean, we're worse than I'm a 96er, and that's starting to look like we're gonna have to work for that. But what are the Phillies on pace for? You know what I mean?
100%. That's the thing. If we lost 12 of 13 and we were 7 back, I'd be like, we're in trouble. We lost 12 of 13 to come back to first place.
Oh, God damn it. Breaking news here. Travis Jankowski is pitching the bottom of the 8th right now. We didn't see that coming when Janko came back into our lives. We got ours.
Okay.
Honestly, if he could show me something, I'll put him in the fucking pen.
He might have. No, I don't want to be the overly positive guy because trust me, I'm as miserable as you guys are. Today, I hopped in the car. I said, I'm not watching anymore. I'm switching up the Juju. I hop in the car. I'm listening to Howie and Keith, and I'm making a video. And I posted it on Instagram. I explained it. I was like, I'm just trying to switch up the Juju. I can't watch it anymore. I'm hoping that I change things. Fucking home run. As soon as I turned on the camera. And I was like, okay, that didn't work. So I don't want to be I'm miserable like you guys. I don't want to be overly positive. However, I will say this. Janko pitching is one of those things where like I think the dugout's probably still laughing right now. I don't know. Like they're miserable. We need to take it seriously. But Janko's pitching is almost like Jorge Lopez throwing his fucking glove in the air and saying we're the worst team in baseball. Like maybe this is a rock bottom moment. We had our players only meeting. We're having our fans only meeting now. I just think like the offense, aside from runners in scoring position, is too good to just like totally disappear. And the pitching is, that was always my concern. I thought it was a big enough sample where I thought to myself, these guys plus whatever moves Stearns is going to make is going to be good enough to get us there. Because that's kind of the rest of the league. No one really has lights out pitching. But that would be my only concern is that like if these, bums who are overperforming don't overperform anymore. But I don't know, man. I just think they were good for a long time. Like if it was like 20 games, I'd be like, whatever. That was just, we started hot. That was a good amount of baseball to be like, this team is a contender. To just continue to lose like this. I just don't think it's going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a new wrinkle where it's like we should have never got this confident. But I just don't think, again, if the Phillies can go through their stretch in the beginning, the Braves can be as bad as they are, everybody has their losing streaks. It's just our turn right now, and it's a little bit worse than usual. But I don't know. I just, like, do you think we're bad? Do you think this is it, Clem?
No. So hear me out, Kev. When we were good in the beginning of the season, and we were good, I mean, that was one thing we were texting to. Like, I remember we said, like, this team is just, the Mets are good, period. Who was struggling? And when I say struggling comparatively to his career numbers, who was struggling?
Juan Soto.
And now that the Mets are good in June, who's hitting the fucking cover off the ball?
Juan Soto.
Is Juan Soto being good the problem of the New York? I'm just waiting for the fucking guy on those loudmouth fucking radio heads to start spouting out. Juan Soto is too good for this Mets team, and he's the reason that it's all falling apart. But seriously, man, there's no way I can say this in my head. This is like, so there's a couple of things here. One, the Janko thing to the Jorge Lopez and the vibes, and this is somehow going to work out. Ace Bailey throws the first pitch. The last three words of Grimace are ace. This is all going to – everyone is getting Eli Manning right now, and I'll tell you what that means. When Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls out of nowhere that no Giants fan saw coming those last few months of the season or before the season, every single year when the Giants started 0-2, we said, started 0-2 and 07. Look what happened. We won the Super Bowl, and we did it. Every single year until Eli retired. And we never won another Super Bowl after those 2. And I think this 24 season from last year was so magical. There's at least another year or two where we're going to be like, all right, what's the weird, funky little thing? Where's the OG? Where's Grimace? Where's Seymour Wiener? Where's the rally pimp? Where's all this kind of shit? So I do think that's kind of keeping me, myself more positive than negative, along with an owner that cares and spends a ton of money. It's also just baseball, man. Play Uno, right? My kids are playing Uno right now. You play Uno, and when you keep looking for that blue card, and you get 5 cards, and you have 6, and then you have 16, and you're like, there is no fucking way I'm winning this game. But you can win those Uno games.
Great fucking analogy, Uno, because there have been so many times I'm holding a deck of cards, I'm like, I'm fucked. And then you just... You
a reverse. Oh, I got red. They don't have a red, so they're picking up. And then I
Uno.
We're playing Uno. That's what baseball is.
It's also the total runs that we've scored for like the week, but whatever. We're playing Uno. You just gotta ride it out. Like I really think that if there's one lesson, and you're right that it's you don't want to take too much from one season to another because Grimace ain't walking through that door. But it's like it's in a way baseball is more like golf than anything. You're playing against yourself. You got to get to the finish line, and you just have to have a certain amount of wins when you get there. Would you like it to just be steady and smooth? Probably, but we're going to have to do it ups and downs. And like, if you get to 91 wins and that gets you a wild card berth, and then we forget about 12 or 13. Obviously, you got to turn it around sooner than later. But I just think that like, I can't imagine that it doesn't turn around somewhat again. It'll probably even out more where like, again, to these people who like somebody who just said we were only good for 30 games. That's not true. We were all world for 30 games. We were at 108 win pace for 30, but for like 60, probably pushing 70, we were good. We were amazing for 30, but we were a good team that I thought was just going to be there. And I just still think we will be there. And this is just kind of a a law of averages thing. Like I don't know. I just think that baseball is so weird and stupid that they're still like loose and whatever. Like the Mets have. My kids learned an important lesson. They were kind of like, they said to me, I feel like the Mets play good against good teams and bad against bad teams. And I was like, welcome to the fucking show, kids. Something we've always done. It's always the Pirates. It's always the Pirates.
Always
Remember that those 7 games against the Pirates in 22 or 3 or whatever it was? Where it was, we're going to fatten up on the Pirates. No, you're not. You're never going to fatten up on the fucking Pirates. When I was a kid in the 80s watching the Pirates fucking smoke us, and until now, like the Pirates will always give me Marlins vibes. But I just think that like the offense will get going. I think Lindor has kind of been quiet. I really think Lindor is almost on that Reyes level. Remember how we used to say, as Reyes goes, so goes the Mets? Like Lindor is almost more important than Soto, as we're realizing, because when he's up, they're down, and vice versa. We need Lindor back. The runners in scoring position has to change. I guess the big thing, though, is like I just look at those names on the staff, and I'm just like, those guys all stink. Those guys could just stink for the next, several times through the rotation, and then you're fucked. Like how many times? We're 3 times through the rotation right now in this losing streak, really?
Yeah, I'd say so. 15 or
so. If you think about it like that, where it's like, yeah, listen, this guy had 3 bad starts. It just happens to be they all had their 3 bad starts in a row, where they used to kind of all cobble it together. But I don't know. That's also how baseball feels to me these days. Nobody really has a dominant staff. Nobody has deep 1 through 5 or mega aces. It's all just kind of cobbling it together. So someone's going to have to just stop it. We just need a stopper. That's where I almost said this the other day, because it's like as good as the pitching staff was this year, there was never a guy where you were like, okay, DeGrom's going today. Well, I guess DeGrom's a bad example because he used to lose for him all the time. But somebody that was just like, stop the bleeding. We're at least going to have a chance to win today. Not going to get shelled. Give me a quality start. I remember Andy Pettit used to do it a lot for the Yankees. He was always their stopper.
I was going to say Pettit, and I thought Peterson might be our Pettit, where he's not the star, but he at least can give you the quality game you need, and the offense can carry the rest. Or like just have a fucking ace. I'm like, this is now like, man, now that I'm seeing what Garrett Crochet looks like in Boston, I'm like, that would have been pretty cool. Would have been pretty cool to have Garrett Crochet.
Maybe this inspires them to make a bigger move.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is I was going to say autopsy. That would be after the season. We're going to do a physical of the team. We're going to look at all the little vital organs of the team, and that's going to be brought to you by Game Time. Baseball is back. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially last minute. Lucky for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to Game Time. Plus, the Game Time Picks feature makes it even easier to find the great deals for seats you want. Just pull up your chosen event and turn on the GT Picks setting at the top of the screen, or browse the local Game Time Picks deals near you on your Game Time app. So I said I'm going Mets Brewers July 3rd. Juan Soto jersey night. I told this to AJ, and he went nuts. I told this to my wife, and she went nuts. She goes, I need a new baseball jersey, and it's absolutely perfect. And we have fireworks that night as a fireworks fan. So I'm looking here at the prices. Promenade Outfield, 534 row 3, $35 a pop. And let me tell you, just getting tickets straight from the Mets, it ain't cheap these days because everybody's going. Uncle Stevie has the place selling out like crazy. Or Pepsi Porch, $70, 303 row 4, the old Barstool at the ballpark area. Absolutely incredible place to watch a game. So I'm going to get those seats right now so that I can put those savings back in my pocket and spend them at the ballpark on a hot dog, a new hat, or some good old-fashioned cracker night. So what are you ready for? I'm going to buy these Brewers at Mets tickets now with Game Time Picks. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BELIEVE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BELIEVE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. What time is it? Game time. And if anyone's going to the game on Thursday, we could have a little powwow, a little therapy session. Hopefully, we've righted the ship by then. But if we haven't, I'm trying to think of what will be the reason. So do you want to start lineup, pitching, starting, or bullpen? Or do we just want to say bullpens or bullpens?
Yes, bullpens and bullpens. Offense comes and goes. I know we have problems with runners in scoring position. I know there's a handful of like bugaboo positions. But that's, again, like, yes, if you're going to compare us to like the absolute best teams in baseball, the best organizations who have endless supplies of free agents and call-ups, yes, we are not a complete team. Comparatively speaking to other good teams, we're good. Like, yeah, nobody has 1 through 9 awesome, except for like the Braves in 22. You know what I mean? The Dodgers are at their best. So I know that there's, catcher's been a problem because Alvarez didn't come through, and we had this rotation at third, and I mean, Jared Young at DH was despicable. Like, I get all that, but the offense is not the problem. They are the problem right now, but they will be fine. Hitting 7 home runs in a game, Juan Soto's getting hot, when Lindor gets going again, it's gonna be the pitching. The pitching is gonna be the problem. And for a while, it was not only not a problem, it was. I think we at one point had the most pitchers pitching into the 6th inning and the most quality starts and all these things. Again, like, don't forget, like, I want to say through like 70 games, we had the best record in baseball, and now we're 80 something. Like, it's not that far removed from being the best team in baseball. So don't go crazy. But I just think if there was one thing that I could say will continue to be a problem, it would probably be the starters, because the bullpen goes up and down. The offense will find its way, but the starters, like, they might just be bad forever now.
So McGill, I'm throwing him out. I think he's done. And let's be honest, I don't think he should have. If everything went according to plan, I don't think McGill would have ever been a starter this year. Right. I just think, everyone's going to get hurt. He's going to pitch like opening day somewhere, and we go. Montes, I mean, that first game he pitched like shockingly well.
I know. Let's call a spade a spade.
Montes terrible. Every other starter
for a contending team. Yeah. Frankie Montes can't be pitching like legitimate actual innings.
Manaea, I don't know what the fuck I'm getting from him. I don't know when he's coming back. When he comes back, he has this new delivery. We were a little concerned about his delivery when he was fine. We re-signed him. It was good vibes off of last year. I do love seeing him in the dugout. Yep. He is a good vibes guy, right? He's kind of like Feidelberg. I see Feidelberg like at the dozen. I'm like, man, I'm just so happy Fights is here right now.
Yeah,
that's how he's good at his job, just like Fights. Yeah. Peterson was like kind of one of my like safe spaces. Mm-hmm. That is gone now. And I talked to you guys on the text thread. He gave up like a home run or a double or something, and one of the Phillies kind of started whispering to another guy. And I was like, that's kind of like when Lindor like finds the fucking tell, talks to Pete, hits a bomb, and that pitcher gets run. After that happened, Peterson, that's when he got just run out by the Phillies. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, shit, that sucks, but whatever, they got him. That is then continued another game, and this one's against the Pirates. So now Peterson, I'm going to give he's like not red. He's like orange, though. It's like a yellowish orange. I'm not going to put him in full orange mode, but I'm starting to get concerned about him. Senga, is he going to get healthy? When he gets healthy, how long is he going to stay healthy for? Can Pete throw to a first baseman? I don't know, or a covering first base.
And
Canning's dead. Canning's dead. I missed that.
And you know who should be dead? Well, I shouldn't say that, but...
Don't answer that. Don't answer that question.
Okay, rewind. That didn't happen. The Blackburn experiment has to end. And I called him Pete Blackburn last night on Twitter. I said, Pete Blackburn, get the fuck off my team. And Pete Blackburn, the actual Pete Blackburn, tweeted at me, like, what did I do wrong? I was like, I got Pete catching strays for Paul Blackburn. I always call him Pete Blackburn. He's just not. Okay, here's my spin zone for all this, though, Clem. You run through all the names we just went through.
Clay Holmes, it's like I still feel the same about Clay Holmes as I did. Like, he's Clay Holmes.
He's Clay Holmes. And I thought I was concerned about the innings limit, or whatever you want to call it, maximum innings, and he kind of blew through that, seemingly okay. But this is a ridiculous spin zone.
Go for it. This is the Mets fucking trust tree. We're all in this together, brother.
All of those guys are replaceable. Like, you're not trying to replace Scherzer and DeGrom and Verlander, like, where it was like, oh my God, we thought we were going to have 3 Cy Youngs, and now we got none. And even those guys were replaceable. I mean, the great 22 season was all because of, Siler McGill and fucking, and all the guys.
Chris Bassett, who got his dick handed to him by the Red Sox.
But, those are the guys you need for, I think there's a big difference between regular season and postseason. When Bassett got to the postseason or down the stretch against the Braves to get to the postseason, he sucked. He was nibbling. He was not confident, and they knew it. But regular season ball, to just get you to that finish line, like I keep talking about, you just need arms to throw somewhat decent starts. And if you were a team built around pitching and all these guys got hurt or sucked, I'd be like, we're totally fucked. But I think you can replace a Griffin Canning because he was already kind of a replacement. I think you can replace a Blackburn. These are not guys where it's like, what? How are you going to get innings out of similar innings from anybody else? I think that's doable, and like
that's like fantasy. That's kind of like fantasy football, where it's like I'm wheeling out Ezekiel Elliott, even though he looks like 3 yards too slow, and you're like, I just got to ride my guys here
because he might, yeah.
And sometimes it's nice just to have a bunch of like waiver wire guys with good matches. Like, fuck it, we're just going to let it ride.
I'll take another step further. I'll take another sport comparison. It's like basketball. We came from a super team era, and now you look at like a Pacers team where it's like, oh, you know what? They just got like 7, 8 really good dudes and a solid bench who just all kind of play together. Like, of course, I wish we had a bunch of aces. I just think that when the offense gets going again, we will. Some of those bad starts, we score 10 runs and you're good. Some of those good starts, you get a few mixed in there, and all of a sudden, instead of losing, 12 or 13, it's like you're 500 and everything's okay. I mean, how many times did we watch DeGrom have a 1 ERA and a fucking record of 4-15? Like, it's just, there's too many arms out there that are just as good as the slop we just mentioned.
Yeah,
honestly, and aside, who has the best pitching in baseball? Aside, there's a handful of teams that have like aces and good staffs, top to bottom. There's injuries all around. The Dodgers are injured. Corbin got injured. A lot of the main aces are injured anyway. No one has a 1 through 5. It's not great right now, but I just don't think it's like cataclysmic.
Runs allowed. Rangers are first. Astros second. Yankees third. Right, and they lost Cole before the season started. Royals, Giants. Those are your top 5. Tigers 6. We're 8th, but it's like we went from 1st to 8th, so we are going the wrong way. I do think, like, don't get me wrong, not everything is great, not everything is good even, but I think we're in like the everything is on fire. I think at some point, at the very least, we're just going to go back to being a 500 team for a little while, and you can live with that.
That's what I mean. Like, you get back to 500, and then you hit your winning streak, and like, I don't know, you're if in 3 weeks, 2 weeks from now, we are a game up in first place, like, does it matter?
Yeah, and here we go. Kieran just said this. We have 13 guys on the IL and 10 are pitchers. Those guys are going to come back, and if they don't, we at least have arms in the minors. And again, I've said it every week. I'm going to get this asshole DeMayo on one day. Yeah. You got to tell me, is McLean ready? McLean is Tong. Is that something you would do in September? Who is the third guy? Well, I'll tell you, Blake Tidwell, not as cool as his name. Definitely, his name is better than his skills as of right now, at least. Sproke Goat, who actually like had a good game yesterday. I'm kind of just putting my like eggs in like a little bit in each of their baskets. And then it's like, are you going to be shocked if Manaea is good? No, I wouldn't be shocked. If he's terrible, I won't be shocked either. If he gets hurt his first start. Same with Senga. That's the fucked up thing. Senga was leading the National League in ERA, even though he hadn't qualified. He was the fucking best starter in the league at that point in ERA. So
that's the nature of. Do you want to be like the Diamondbacks right now? You just signed a fucking 6-7 year deal, and in year 1 you're fucked. Everyone gets injured. There are very few people who, even if you're a star, you're pitching 7 or 8 innings. There are very few people who throw 300 innings a season. It's just not worth that money and not worth the risk of injury. I would rather be getting injured and having regression with these bums than having all of my money and all of my focus tied up in a rotation. That's just kind of how the game has evolved. I don't like it. I used to love having, at least a 1 through 3. There used to be such a clear who's our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm like, I don't even know who's the 1, who's the 5. Everyone just goes this way, that. You know what I mean? It's just like you throw it. It's become a bullpen. It's just one gigantic bullpen. Some people throw 4 innings. Some people throw 1 inning, and you cobble together 9.
It was awesome when Eddie George would get the ball 400 times, run motherfuckers over, and like score 1,000 touchdowns. Now it's like 7 running backs on a team. Guy catches, guy plays third down. You might have a bell cow that goes like 2.5 downs. And you have Derrick Henry, you have Christian McCaffrey, it's fucking Saquon Barkley now. And everyone else is just
very few.
Figuring it out. Yeah. And pitching's gone this. Dude, I loved it when you could go, all right, Mike Hampton's our 1, Leiter's our 2. He was our 1, now he's our 2. Rick Reed, my fucking guy, was our 2, now he's our 3. And you get all fucking hyped up. It's just not like that anymore, unfortunately. And I do think Stearns is on the right side of it, but these guys have to start fucking pitching again. Let's be honest. And now we've hit the pitching. the offense. So Chavez is the target right now. That is the guy.
I hate that. Eric Chavez is not going to change a fucking thing on this team. You can fire him, and I understand. I definitely get the heads have to roll, and you want to show some sort of change. That won't change a fucking thing. I promise you. A hitting coach, even that Jeremy Hefner praise, I'm all about it because like it's working, but like right now it's not. And where's Hefner? He's doing the same fucking thing. Those coaches don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Or they matter very minimal. You can fire him and bring in whoever the fuck you want. Bring in Beltran, bring in Wright, whatever celebrity name you want to throw out there. It doesn't fucking matter.
Kevin Long was always the guy that would either come in or get fired, and then
Kevin Long's like, God, these guys are all such nobodies who do nothing, and we think that it's going to be you just want a scapegoat. You just want a head to roll. I get that, and that is a part of the game, and maybe we need to do that. It's just if you think that's going to change the team, you're a fucking idiot.
But who told fucking Alvarez to change his swing? That guy should be fired. Or
some of that stuff where it's like you fucked with like an impressionable, or like when McNeil stopped being a hitter for average. Like some of those things are problematic. But do you think Juan Soto listens to Eric Chavez? Like these guys don't fucking care.
I'm trying. Like Juan Soto listens more to Jeremy Hefner and like learned how to throw. It was incredible. It was incredible just watching him change his throwing motion, and he's just better at throwing because of Jeremy Hefner. It's like, who is the guy? Alex Guerrero, right? That was Brady's guy. Like, we have to start being like, oh, the guy who told Alvarez, you are banned from Citi Field, and Uncle Steve will ban you from the fucking 5 boroughs.
And if that's Chavez, then fine.
Fuck, Chavez told him, so Chavez, you're out of here.
Fine,
Fuck
so
it, I can't do this.
But, okay, so then you can blame an Alvarez here or that guy there, but these, like, the pros that we need to hit and produce who just aren't right now are not going to change a fucking thing based on this guy or that guy. And whoever you bring in is not going to be some savior. And if they do turn it around, it's only because baseball is a stupid sport, not because a hitting coach all of a sudden. If a hitting coach was that good, he wouldn't be a hitting coach. He'd be a fucking manager. He'd be a GM. He'd be something more important than a fucking hitting coach.
Maybe hey, Chavez lost his job because of you guys. Figure the fuck out.
Yes, and that's why I do think that firing people sometimes matters. Where it's like, whoa, like they ain't fucking around. Like somebody just lost their livelihood because of us. Like. This is not a hitting coach, but how long do we fucking scream for Ray Martinez? I can't remember his name now. Thank God, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
Oh, you're talking about Ramirez?
Ray Ramirez. Yes, Ray Ramirez, the fucking trainer. Like he's killed our team. We're injured more than anyone because of this guy, and then he's gone, and we're the same old fucking team. Yeah, it's just these are just names that fans and sports talk radio yell at. And they don't really matter. If it could influence you like here or there to maybe shake you up and be like, whoa, they actually fired somebody, fine. But if you think that like hitting instruction from some dude sitting out there in batting practice is going to change this losing streak, I think you're crazy. By the way, Joe DeMayo will be joining us shortly.
Oh, nice. Even better. Motherfucking Joe DeMayo. I'm blaming him for our guys not getting called up right now. Joe, talk to the fucking front office.
Well, that's the other thing. Maybe not only at the deadline, I feel like a couple weeks ago you would have said we just got to get some relievers, get a lefty, maybe a bat, whatever. Now maybe it's like, do you make a move for an ace? Do you need to get more serious, or do you rush a guy like Jonah Tong where it's like, is he ready? Let's maybe at least try it out. Like, and if he gets shelled, you send him back down. But like, does this maybe create a little bit of urgency? I don't really think it should because, again, I think we're mad right now. But at least my personal goal is to have a long-term machine of a team that constantly is contending. And if you start rushing guys and trading prospects and whatnot, like you don't really get there. So I am still preaching patience and the big picture. But I also get that right now, we can't have a lost season after the way we started.
I'm going to take like the little wins right now. It's like Jared Young out of my life.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't even know. It's Paul Blackburn. You've now like poisoned my brain with Pete Blackburn being in my head. Paul Blackburn. I need him off of my screen. Montas is getting close to being off my screen, even though we just signed like $34 million fucking contract. There's just a lot. There's like a few guys that I see them and my blood boils. And then the bullpen every night now is just guys I've never heard of.
I know.
I've seen this a bunch in the chat, Samurai Gold, like get bullpen and run production. And I do think
but that's baseball, bro. Everybody needs that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's literally every point, team.
What do we and like I said, the Eli Manningification? Let's do the 25 Metsification of this all. Just find me the Kelly Johnson and the Juan Uribe, right? Like that's all we said every year after that season, and we're back here again. We just need to find those guys.
And if you find a Yo Cespedes, unbelievable. If you find a Kelly Johnson and a Dark Sexy, like just as good, just as impactful. This guy, hold my beer. Is it too soon to start building for next season? We were the best team in baseball through 70 games, and now we're through like 82. If you think about it in terms of a football season, you've lost one game. You lost one fucking game.
And hey, you got let's be honest. During this losing streak, which is abysmal, I'm not letting them off the hook at all. But we all know that the Phillies and the Braves, both in terms of rivalry and in terms of the standings, that it came in 9 games against them, some of that dog shit. It's what's driving us nuts. The Pirates being terrible is a part of that. The Rays one, I'm like, man, I was like, whatever. We were looking ahead to the Braves and the Phillies. I wasn't even like that. I was like annoyed with it, but I was like, we could have won on Friday night, and the Rays just do Ray shit. They just do that sometimes. Brandon Lowe becomes hot as fuck,
weird
and
black
he's awesome.
magic.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, we're gonna open up the lines in a minute. We'll just do a quick look ahead. We have the Brewers coming up this week. We have the Yankees coming up this week. They got to figure this shit out by the goddamn Subway Series because but you know what? At the same point, like, they kind of have to figure out their shit.
They have to figure out their shit. I also feel like at times the Subway Series is a little bit of a launching pad, one direction or the other. Like I hate them because it's like a little all-in moment where if you lose, like, you know, it's terrible for the fan base and the radio goes crazy and we start to spiral. But if you win, it feels like a little playoff series. You know what I mean? So maybe that could be a good thing to get the juices flowing. I think so much of this is like fan related. Like Juan Soto's the perfect example. When he was struggling and they were winning, he was like, I'm all good. Now he's red hot and they're losing. It's like the sport doesn't make sense at times. And I think the guys who play that every fucking day know that. And just, you got to ride it out when it's low. You got to stay grounded when it's high. And we are the ones who go absolutely crazy. But like you said, a couple things go this way or that way. And instead of losing, 13-16, you've lost 9. And it's just not nearly as bad.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way they think. And management is viewing this and all that. We're the ones who are like, people are talking about canceling the season.
Yeah. So we talked about this on last week's podcast. Like, I do think the guys, unless we make a trade, it's going to be the Beatties, the Vientoses, the Mauricios. They're going to have to figure out how to get their way out of it. Tyrone Taylor, I fucking love him, but it's like a peacetime versus a wartime consigliere. I can't say it. I'm fucking Clemenza, and I can't say that goddamn word. It breaks my heart. It's like, I feel like we are going to need a center fielder. I see Mullins is in the chat. There's a couple other guys I'm looking at Byron Buxton's contract, being like, well, with our medical team, like, give it a shot. He's actually not on a bad deal, and I feel like the Twins are going to want to keep him around because it's really not terrible, even for the Twins. So, but I think at some point, the young kids who are up here and the kids in the minors are going to figure it out, and we're going to bring in our guy, Joe DeMayo, who just came on, and our little segment, Joe, is brought to you by DraftKings. Nothing this summer like long days, clutch plays, and firing off a few bets on the game, all with DraftKings Sportsbook. As the season heats up, so do the bets, and DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with live betting, home run props, odds boosts, and more. Whether you're chasing dingers or jumping in mid-game, there's always action to be had. Never bet on baseball before? It's easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds, mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spread suites, just vibes and dingers. Put that on a shirt.
Dingers is good.
Dingers is a good one. Here's something special for the first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. And I'll be honest, I was trying to bet Mets Mets over on their total, and then find a third prop for a game parlay every game this season, and I could never figure out the third thing. Thank the good Lord. I might just start betting Mets home runs from now on, and it's going to be Soto or Lindor, let's be honest. But instead of talking about the guys that are here pissing us off, let's talk about the guys in the future that will probably honestly piss us off too. We got Joe DeMayo on.
Joe, in the motherfucking building. Let's go.
PSL The Flush It on Twitter is where you can find him. SNY, Mr. Fancy Pants, calling games in spring training. How are we doing, Joseph?
We're doing okay. Clem, are you doing okay? You look like you're growing out a like.
We switched, but I shaved for the first time in like 10 years.
I took all his shavings from the sink and I just pasted them on. My wife, I got back from Chicago and I didn't shave because I was going to shave when I got home. And my wife goes, "Ooh, I like the beard." Joe, when you've been married this long, when your wife says it like something about you, keep it rolling to the day you die, basically.
And I appreciate you getting the under, keeping it nice and clean. All things considered, I just figured it was you're growing it out until the Mets have a 3-game winning streak. That's what I think.
A loser beard
is going to be
loser beard.
ZZ Top over here.
This might have started. I might have to shave. Like I'm gonna have to go back. I feel like they started losing once the hair started growing, Joe. So you might be on.
Everyone's got to switch up their schedule. Where are you at, Joe? We'll talk about the prospects in a second, but like I feel like you're always pretty level-headed. What are you thinking right now?
I mean, it's really bad. Like I don't know how else to put it. I mean, just look, they're June. Like if I tell you the Mets went 12-15 in June, you'd be like, well, that wasn't great, but like okay. Oh, but they went 3-13 over the last 16.
But that's what I mean. Like, does it at the end of the day? I just said this earlier. I don't know if you were listening. You got to get to game 162 with 94, 91, 87, whatever the number is. You just got to get there. And would it be nicer if you went 500 in a season and it was because you won 1, lost 1, won 2, lost 2? Sure. We did it the other way. We won 15 and we lost 15. But at the end of the day, if you're 500 and that's your worst month or whatever, does it really matter? Of course it matters, but does it matter how you get there?
No, not really, ultimately. But it's easy to say, like, that's what we look at when we're doing an off-season show talking about the Mets moves. It's like, well, they got there. Don't worry about June, but now we're in the midst of it. So it's not nearly as enjoyable. Look, the pitching's a problem right now. Obviously, there's a mess of injuries, and the guys that are here are not going deep in the games other than those back-to-back outings by Peterson. So the bullpen's getting taxed. You know, it's really tough there. And then offensively, like, look, Lindor been pretty good. Soto obviously had an all-time month. Pete Alonso, really good. Jeff McNeil's been good. So it's just the bottom of that order. It's just zeros now. Like you were talking about Tyrone Taylor, I heard kind of when I first joined on, and love Tyrone Taylor. He's a fourth outfielder, and he's playing every single day, and he's getting exposed as an offensive player.
The Tyrone Taylors, the Terrens, a lot of guys that we were all high on because it was early and they were producing. That's baseball. Eventually, they show the warts.
And this is a team right now. I think they really need that off day that's coming tomorrow. I think that's really big. And what they really, really need is the All-Star break.
That's what I said. Oh, I was talking to Hubs today. I was like, all right, we're at 80-something games. When's the All-Star break? He's like, not for 2 weeks. I was like, what? What the fuck are we doing the All-Star break in like 110 games? What's going on here?
It's supposed to be the mid-summer classic, mid-season classic, whatever. But they really need, I think, a bit of a break to get some guys back. Manaea, I haven't heard how his bullpen session went this weekend, but if it went as expected, he's going to make a rehab start either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then he'll be back after that. So Manaea's really on the mend. Senga throwing off a mound, so he's making progress. I think he's probably like a shortly after the All-Star break thing. Brooks Raley could be a guy shortly after the All-Star break. He's pitching rehab games. Jesse Winker's playing down in Brooklyn today. He had a double off the wall.
Those bats matter, where it's just like, that's a professional hitter. He's not an all-world guy, but you can count on him for a big pinch hit or come through in the clutch. And when you don't have that guy, and you have all of their replacements in, it starts to add up.
What you need ultimately when you're building an offense, kind of the way the Mets have it, right? You have the top 4 really, really good players. And even if you want to stretch to McNeil playing really good this season as well, you need floor with the rest of the lineup. It doesn't need to be guys that have the upside of the OPS 950. You just need guys that are not zeros. And
professional hitters who can go out there and get a hit every now and then.
Get Winker out there. And honestly, the X factor is Mark Vientos. What is he going to be for the rest of the summer? He doesn't have to be 870 OPS Mark Vientos of 2024. But man, you couldn't have convinced me after essentially a full season of being awesome with very little downs at all. And then the playoffs that he had, like, it was just, all right, this is the
I
next
thought he
middle
was
of the
gonna
order guy.
Go, dude. I was saying
Skyrocket.
he was going to protect Soto, and like they were going to be the 1-2 punch. I also thought the same thing about Alvarez after his first 30 home run season or 28 or whatever that was. I thought these guys were just going to go, and when they don't, it's like, wait a minute. That I like put that in ink, bro, not even pencil. Fuck.
I'll tell you, man, no one was higher on Alvarez than I was. And, you know, when I do my rankings and I talk about prospects ad nauseum all the time, you guys have seen it for years and years and years now. I don't do comps. I don't do big terms on things. I don't do any of that stuff. It's not beneficial. I dropped all-star on Francisco Alvarez. I don't think I've done that on a prospect before or since. And maybe I'll get back to just not throwing those kind of
Your
things.
fault. You're the one who did
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
It's not
all
Eric
me.
Chavez.
It's all me.
It was Joe DeMayo.
But like, are you Panic City? Are you consoling? Where are you at? Do you think this is just a June swoon and we'll be fine?
Shout out to Amish Mets fan. We had I might have been a German Mets fan who had the Consolina poster.
Oh, that was
tweeted
so
out. That was out of
was
this world.
funny.
German
I
Mets
saw that.
fan.
That was funny.
Book by someone else. I didn't. Somebody DM'd that to me on Instagram. I didn't know that was someone from the Mets community. I'll repost it.
Yeah, the German Mets fan.
Yeah, book by August 15th for an early bird special. Like, if this was a different regime and a different season, I would have been on my way to Carolina.
We'd all be there together.
Yeah,
You consoled in like the first week of April before.
Yes, sir.
So,
Sir,
so
no,
quick-
but I don't know if you heard.
Yeah.
I was so wrong last year, and I believe so heavily in Cohen and Stearns and everybody that this is the year of no console. No matter what happens, I will ride this till the end. And even if it wasn't, I would not be consoling right now because I just think they showed for too long that they were good enough, and that this is hopefully just a rough patch. So no console either way. But do you think this is something we look back in 2 weeks and we're like, that sucked, but we're okay? Or do you think this is a much more big problem, a sign of things to come?
honestly, I think we'll look back and be like, wow, how didn't they run through the Pirates? Or how did they just let Atlanta stomp them for a week? Or how did they lose to, I mean, I guess 2-3 to Philly's not crazy. Even when you're playing good, that could happen. Yeah. But this team is too good, KFC. Exactly like you said. They played as well as they did for as long as they did. And we're just in the midst of just such a crappy time.
But I would say that yes for the offense. The offense is too good. The bottom half is bad, but that's kind of baseball. You get Winker back, you get another bat. Like, that'll all work itself out. Is that pitching too good? Like, they're not. Like, even before Canning was injured, I was like, I think the wheels are starting to come off. And if Clay Holmes starts to get tired, and like some of these names are just not like that. I guess I could just see a world where all those guys have a bad second half and you'd be fucked.
Sure.
It's not like there's a hate, you know?
No, for sure. And look, Kodai Senga was pitching like a pure ace, so we just need to get him back. His ERA was in the mid ones.
Yeah. But
ultimately, I think they'll be okay, and then it's just a matter of how quickly do they get back, because you don't look 3-13. That's a long stretch. This wasn't a bad week. This was a bad 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And generally, when you try to evaluate these things, it's like, well, you're never as good as when you're playing your best, and you're never as bad as when you're playing your worst. But there's legitimate questions on the pitching staff. Clay Holmes is going to have not necessarily an innings cap where they shut him down, but how long is he going to be stretched out for 5 innings? And, he might be someone when you get into September, and hopefully, I assume we're talking playoffs, right? I don't think we're bailing out. I don't think we're bailing on playoffs right now, but in October, maybe Clay Holmes is a reliever instead of a starter in the playoffs. Peterson, back-to-back, not great starts, but I still feel really good about where he is. But they'll need to add. There's no way around it. They have a couple guys coming back that'll help. But when you get to a month from now, starting pitching was not something on my radar that I thought the Mets would have to go after. But injuries and performance have kind of forced their hand, where maybe it's not going to get a frontline guy, which frankly, I don't think there's going to be one out there.
It's like there's just not many of those guys, let alone ones that are available. Who would you get,
Like maybe Sandy Alcantara is the best guy available, but he's had a real rough year coming off of Tommy John. I think you try to find some mid, like number 3, number 4 type starter, someone that you could just rely on to take the ball every 5th day and give you a chance to win. And they have to add to the bullpen too. They will get Brooks Raley back, which will be big, but they have to add to the pen as well.
Two things to what you just said. I think you're right, adding a 3 or a 4, and I think we have like one of the best executives in baseball who does that. That's what the guy has done. If he finds you a 3 or 4 that can pitch for 4 or 5 times the rotation and get the fuck out of here, and we slide in another one, fine. And I also think you do need to add to the bullpen. But if the starting pitching, it just goes hand in hand. When the when the bullpen is taxed because you can't get out of the 4th inning, the bullpen looks bad. When the bullpen's getting rest and pitching, in their proper slots and everything's all good because the starting's good, it'll, one begets the other. So I think as long as you can fix one of those problems, the other will get a little bit better too.
Yeah, I agree. And look, the bullpen has really talented guys. Like we know Edwin Diaz has been great at the back end of games. He hasn't really been a concern at all this year. Reed Garrett, a guy probably being overworked a little bit, but boy, is he really good when he gets those couple days break. Huascar Brazoban, that is a guy that's been overworked. Clearly, he's lost complete control of the strike zone, but his stuff is awesome. Jose Buto has been really good. Like I posted yesterday on Twitter, like he's one of the quiet guys. He's an ERA below 2 since the end of April. So Buto,
I would not have guessed that. I would not.
Yeah, like Buto's a guy that we just don't talk about, but he's been really good. So they have pieces in the pen. They need the stars to go deeper. So if you're going to trade for someone at the deadline, try and look for maybe Baltimore. Maybe you make a Mullins and Zach Eflin trade. You get 2 guys for the price of 1. And Eflin's a guy you'll get 6 innings from, and he's going to pitch like a 4th starter, but he'll give you 6 innings and keep you in the game and hopefully give these relievers a chance to rest at least a little bit. So yeah, they really have some work to do to figure out what their pitching staff is going to look like.
Is there sorry, go ahead, Clem.
No, you know who Eflin reminds me of, but I could be off on this. I remember when the Phillies acquired Joe Blanton from the A's, and he wasn't like the greatest guy, but he showed up, and you're like, fuck, we fucking lost to Joe Blanton. Fuck Joe Blanton.
Joe would give you 6 every fucking time. Yeah.
Zach Joe Blanton Eflin is what we'll call him when he takes them out on April 14th against Washington or whoever the hell they're playing that day.
No, but Joe, this is what I want to know. What are my sweet little babies in the minors going to do? Are they coming up? Are they going to the pen? What are my sweet babies? You can't be showing me Jonah Tong eyes, McLean throwing fucking wiffle balls, and then be like, oh, Zach Eflin. Come on, Joe. What are the sweet little babies?
Can we at least give him a shot and see if it works?
Just a shot.
So here's what I'll say. So Jonah
Tong, give him an inning. And out. Come on, Joe. Just an out.
One pitch.
Joe,
well, do you want to start their service class?
Yes.
You want to get them closer to free agency?
Get the fuck out of here. Steve Cohen shits on service time.
I knew exactly what that response was going to be.
Yeah, I hate that shit. I was so proud of our franchise when we brought up Alonso, and I was like, fuck.
And that was Wilpon who did that.
No, if Wilpon's going to do that for him, then we can do it with anybody with Cohen.
I'm not worried about service time. The Mets aren't worried about service time. But Jonah Tong, the one that Clem brought up, he needs to get to AAA first, which I don't have a good reason why he's not already there. Leads minor league baseball in strikeouts, has an ERA of like 1.73.
How old is he?
22. So he should be at the AAA level at this point. I think there's just the way that's set up. I think he'll be there very soon. Either way, I don't think he's going to be he'll be at AAA very soon. Is my guess. Okay, yeah. I don't think Jonah Tong's going to make his big league debut this year. I'm pretty much on record for that.
I also, as much as I'm saying I would love it right now, I don't think, like, we kind of did it with Alvarez. We brought him up and we had no catcher and we thought he was ready. And then you might fuck with a guy's future. And I do think these guys are set on building a long-term thing. And if you think Jonah Tong is the one, bringing him up under duress because of a 3-13 stretch and a couple injuries where you throw him to the fire is not the best way to develop that guy. So unless he was really ready, I don't think so.
But at the AAA level, you're getting closer with a couple guys. Like, to me, I'm just going to say it, and I'm sure a lot of people watching and in the comments, and you guys will agree. I really don't want to watch Paul Blackburn start games much anymore.
I declared him dead, actually. I said he should be dead.
Well, send Paul. Like, to me, I like Paul Blackburn. Make him a long reliever, so when these starters do go short, let Paul Blackburn go and clean up. Lined up with him is Brandon Sproat, who has had an up and down year. It's been a lot better lately. He had a really good start yesterday, so it lines up perfectly with Blackburn's day. Me personally, I'd have no opposition bringing up Sproat later this week to take the slot that someone's calling me. Leave me the hell alone. I'm on a show.
Put him on the pod, Joe. Let's see what they have to think about Sproat.
Well, actually, it is a Mets fan, so he might be ranting and raving. But
bring him in. I don't care who is it. Answer. Let's go.
But I would say I would consider calling up Brandon Sproat to take Blackburn's spot this week. I really would. And maybe that's a little reactionary, and maybe the Mets wouldn't necessarily agree with me, but I'd consider that. But Nolan McLean, as Clem said, guy with the wiffle ball sweeper. He's been really good since getting called up to AAA. Hasn't allowed more than 2 runs in his last 9 starts. So he's been pretty consistent. He's not missing bats as much as he did at the AA level. And his splits are a little off where lefties have hit him a little better than he's basically righties can't touch him at that level. But I think Nolan McLean, whether that's starting or out of the pen, I really think he's going to make an impact in the second half for this team.
Somebody's gotta, man. Somebody's fucking gotta. Or we just gotta have a couple laughers where we, hit 7 home runs again, put up 12 runs.
You get a couple games like that, and this stuff figures itself out a little bit, and you give the relievers a couple days, and then everyone kind of normalizes, I would guess.
I'm looking at the chat here. I don't know who this Sam Reingold guy is. I think it might be Frank's fucking burner because he's just going absolutely ballistic. And he said something. I'm going to scroll up here and try to find it.
All right.
Oh, we have Tank's in there. He told him trash burn. So Tank's actually in the chat.
I can't find his exact comment earlier, but he was saying, like, I need to see players angry. I need to see emotion. Like, Reyes is more angry in the postgame on television than the team is. Like, I could not disagree with that more. I think baseball is the last sport in the world where you need emotion in that regard. I think you need emotion. I think vibes are important. I think focus is important. But, like, playing angry and flipping over tables and all that shit, like, it's, I think, the absolute worst thing for a team. I think guys like Lindor and Soto, specifically Lindor, are such good leaders because it's like, never as high as your highs, never as low as your lows. It'll be okay. We do have to focus. Like, we're not fucking around, but don't get down on yourself. And, like, I think that guy Sam mentioned Jorge Lopez throwing his glove too. It's like, yeah, listen, if there's some bum on the team who wants to be a asshole publicly, and that causes a tipping point, and we can get him the fuck out of here, fine. I would love to recreate that. But I don't want to hear that, like, Lindor is throwing people's lunch out or fucking going crazy. Like, that's not what you need in this sport. The fans want that, and we do that, and sports radio does that. Leave that to us, not them.
Exactly. That was exactly what I was going to say, KFC. That's for us. That's for the folks on WFAN. That's for the folks on SNY. That's for all of us to rant about this stuff. The players, they have to show up and play baseball. Well, not literally tomorrow in this case, but most of the time they have to go and play again tomorrow. So if you're just freaking out at every bad stretch or whatever, like that's not going to help anything. It really isn't. And, that's something that people have gotten on Jeff McNeil for, right? Like, just his general attitude, even when he's playing well and Jeff hits a fly ball, he slams his bat and everyone's just like, can you just calm down a little bit?
Dude. Yeah. It's like, unless you're like Paul O'Neill or one of those guys who, like, that's your thing, then
it's a different game. It's a different game. Like, it's just it's not the same game that we knew. And I know that pisses a lot of people off, but that's where we are. And I want Lindor and Soto and Alonso and Nimmo to show up and be themselves the way they are. And eventually this is going to work out. I don't know if it's 2 weeks, whenever the time frame is, we will eventually be like, oh yeah, that's right. The Mets are really good. They just played really crappy for a while.
Right. I think so too, man. If that stuff worked, Frank Fleming would be, the Mets manager. Like, that's what
that would be a wild
I'd sign up for the Frank press conferences post game. I'd sign up for that.
Just call us some trash burn in the press conference. Yeah, not throwing trash burn anymore.
I saw again somebody in the chat being like, if this season's bad, Mendoza's gone. I'm like, I mean, God,
no.
I was the craziest of Mets fans for like 35 years of my life too, and eventually you have to realize, like, it's not how it works. It's not how it goes. Mendoza's been great. He is safe. It's not him. It's not. We were talking earlier. What do you think about firing Eric Chavez? Chavez. I don't know how to say so.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting because with coaches, it feels like no one talks about them when things are going well, and then when things are going poorly, it's like, what's wrong with the coach? Yeah. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. That's Eric Chavez's fault. And I'm not here to defend him. Like, if the Mets decided they wanted to move on from Eric Chavez, okay, it's fine. But, like, what is he? How is a different hitting coach going to make guys hit better with runners in scoring position? You're either doing it or you're not. So
Do you believe that firing someone though, maybe the locker room goes, holy shit, like somebody just lost their job because we're not playing well. Like, let's fucking go.
It can happen. It could go one of two ways, right? It either could be beneficial or maybe negative. And
Right.
the thing I would mention is if you fired Eric Chavez, it's not like they're going to go pull somebody off the street. It's just going to be the promotion from within.
Right.
So Jeremy Barnes is the assistant hitting coach. If you don't,
oh my God! Imagine if we fired Chavez and we have another bad 2 weeks. What people will be saying about Jeremy Barnes? They'll be literally like, "Set this guy on fire! He killed his family."
So get this. So Jeremy Barnes was the assistant hitting coach 3 years ago, I think. He got promoted to hitting coach when Chavez got moved to bench coach, and the Mets didn't hit well. This was 2023, I think, right? So they didn't hit well in 23. So what did they do? They brought Chavez back they moved them back to hitting coach, made Barnes assistant hitting coach again, and they brought in Gibbons, John Gibbons to be the bench coach.
These guys don't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Come on.
So like, look, they matter. So I wouldn't go quite that far. They matter, but they're not the end all be all. And if that's like a sacrificial lamb, that'll move things okay. But it's just going to be.
I could see a guy like Lindor being like mad about that or upset. Like we don't need to fire guys for our performance. Like don't fuck with this team. Like he's not the reason we went 3-13, and no one else will be the reason why we went 13-3. Like it's right. On the players at the end of the day.
When we had the best record in baseball, I know there was like at the end of the day, Mets fans, I know how it is. I host a podcast. I hear you guys. I'm on Twitter, habitually on Twitter, way too much on Twitter, actually. Mm-hmm. So I see what everybody says. The Mets had the best record in baseball, like whatever, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. And people still wanted Eric Chavez fired.
I know, yeah.
And it's just like, I get it, but look, it's a tough spot. But if they want to make a move, okay, I'm not going to say I'm against it. I just don't know that it's necessarily going to produce what everyone thinks, which is like, okay, now they're going to hit 335 with runners in scoring position and just bludgeon teams.
Like there's someone out there or someone like Jeremy Barnes is an assistant and not telling us the secret to runners in scoring position. If he gets promoted, right, he's going to then give us the, oh, guys, by the way, you're doing this wrong, do it this way, and it all changes. It's not how it fucking goes.
You have to also remember that, like, talking about an offensive coach getting fired, me and Joe had to live through Jason Garrett coaching both of our offenses and his whole team for way too long. And you're just like, fire Jason Garrett and everything will be better. Yeah. And it got better once Jason Garrett was out of the fucking room.
Totally different too, though. A different world.
Different world. 100%, 100%.
Two different sports. But yeah, we can go down to Jason Garrett.
Yeah,
road if you want.
Sam, I think Sam was saying in the chat too, like, do you guys care about run production? Yes, Sam. We know run production is important. We know runners in scoring position. We suck at it. And if you tell me they fire Chavez and they change the approach and the approach gets better, great. If the approach somehow stays the same or gets worse, then we're fucked. And I agree. If you want to make a change, make a change. I don't care anymore.
You can't be last in the National League and second in all of Major League Baseball at runners in scoring position. I get it. But also, when you hit 7 solo home runs and win a game and it doesn't move the needle on your runners in scoring position, you still produce. So you hit a fucking 2-run shot with someone on first base. These are stats that matter, but they don't tell the whole story. And when you have, I'm sure there's a ton of teams out there that would love to have 4 guys with 15 or more home runs. And if we got a little bit of production from the back half of the lineup, I think all of this would go away, or a couple clutch hits with runners in scoring position. But there's other ways to score runs. It's not the only way. It's important, but it's unfortunate that it's so stark because it just gives the boo birds like something to latch onto. And it is legitimate, but it's not the total picture. It's legitimate and it's frustrating, and it puts pressure on those top guys, right? Like these guys are aware of what's going on. Like as much as they're going to say, I believe in all my teammates or whatever, like those guys know, like, I really have to produce because there's no telling what's going to happen when Tyrone Taylor comes up and Luis Torrens comes up and Brett Beatty comes up or whatever. Like these guys at the bottom of the order, they've had moments, but it's not exactly the most, you don't have high level of confidence in those guys to produce with any consistency. So if you are Lindor and you are Soto and you are Nimmo and Alonso, you're like, I really have to come through every chance I get. So it's a tough spot with runners in scoring position. Is there an approach problem?
I don't know. Like what is, I guess I'm not a coach, so that's one of the important things, and probably for the best that I'm not. But like what is the approach with runners in scoring position? Like, yeah, drive them in.
Hit the ball where they, hit them where they ain't.
Yeah. Like, so like the approach, like, at times it's like, okay, hunt of early fastball. And if you don't get a fastball, take it. And then, okay, they threw a couple breaking balls. Now it's 0-2. And now you're kind of in the defensive. You're not on the offensive anymore. So I don't know what the like right approach is, but they need to score more runs because they're not scoring enough runs. However you slice it, they just aren't scoring enough.
Well, I will say, I think Lindor, as good as Soto is, we've seen when he's good, when he's bad, they've been good. When he's been good, the team has been bad. I think the Mets it's very similar to the Reyes years of like, as Reyes goes, so goes the Mets. And I think he's been fine, but I think he's got it. I mean, that stat of his home run, the wins in his home runs are fucking crazy. Yeah. He's been okay, but I feel like he's got to get back to where he was, where he's constantly setting the table and putting the pressure on. And I think once that happens, that offense will turn around more so than any other player, which is crazy because Pete's been consistent. Soto's had his ups and downs, but I really think if you look at it, I bet Lindor would be the X factor there every time.
Always starts with the leadoff guy. Like, regardless of who it is, you're leading off the lineup. Like, you're setting the tone for the game. They need more from Lindor, but.
And then ask yourself the question: do you think he's going to give more? I do. I think we not learned our lesson about doubting that guy. I think
every year,
every fucking year.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time left. I think he'll get there. They will get there, and we look at this as. This is one of those streaks where if you do miss the playoffs or you miss by a couple games or if you're really good, you're like, wow, we could have won 110 if we didn't have the game against the Pirates. But it's baseball, Susan.
Pirates swept the Phillies too, right? And do I have that right? So it's like, it is what it is. So that was a little bit of positivity. So we're going to just turn things on its head.
Oh, no.
Joe, do you want to stay on with the tank?
Oh, I'll talk to Frank. I saw Frank at Citi Field. He was so nice.
He's delightful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that a couple weeks ago because he's a different man right now.
No, it was earlier this year. It was earlier this year, and it was before the game.
Okay, so I'm going to do a trigger warning to the people listening on the podcast tomorrow. This is Frank the Tank. I think Frank Fleming is on hiatus right now, which I understand, losing streak, all this stuff. I'm going to ask Frank before I have him on. Frank, just remember there are people listening in their headphones on the
scream.
Yeah, just like let's not scream if you can make your points, but we can't have like the screaming crazy Twitter videos because people click those to listen to it. These people
I have sensitive ears, Frank.
And Joe has sensitive ears, most importantly. Frank, and Frank's walking because that's what fucking Frank does.
Get some energy out.
How we doing, Franklin?
Miserable. I tell you, I got an idea. How about maybe you send a warning to Chavez? You don't fire Chavez. You fire Jeremy Barnes. And I got a name for you to replace him. J.D. Martinez.
Yeah.
Bring him.
These are things, Frank, that I like JD and sure, but do you really think that's going to change what's going on right now?
He helped Mark Vientos last year.
Well, Frank, here's a question for you. Have you liked how Francisco Alvarez has played this year?
No, I haven't.
JD Martinez was like his off-season hitting coach, essentially.
The big thing, though, is not the hitting right now. The hitting's bad.
Right.
But this pitching staff. I don't want to see Paul Trashburn ever again.
Ever
again. And I'm not a fan of Montas either.
No, he's.
I mean, I was treating Montas like the Dark Knight. I saw his numbers in rehab, and I was like, Montas is coming. Montas is coming, and I knew the long winter was coming when I saw Montas, and boy, tonight certainly was.
Frank, who do you think is good?
Like, who do you feel confident when they take the bump?
Right now, nobody.
Like Senga, if he comes back healthy, like how do you feel about Minaya, Senga, Peterson at this point after the last two games? Like you don't feel like there's any. You just feel like it is a dark night.
Clay Holmes has been good. He's not. He's going 5 innings, but Clay Holmes is pretty good.
So many innings for Clay Holmes. So many innings. You know what the Mets really need? I think they have to pull the trigger. I mean, Blade Tidwell. I think he gets it done. They'll send him to Sacramento. Bring back Severino.
Oh no!
I mean, there's definitely some smoke about Severino being a trade.
I could see
candidate.
that, but could you also not see a world, Frank, where 2 weeks after that, you're like, fucking Severino, this guy, we should have never fucking brought him back here, this motherfucker. He's not like, we're not bringing back DeGrom. It's still Severino.
Did anyone see Severino today? 3 2/3 against the Yankees and got his dick kicked in. Again.
Yeah, he's not exactly great.
So now you tell me you put him back in the lab and they fixed whatever the A's broke along the way, right? Okay, I can live with that. But do we think that's what is going to happen? These are his June numbers: 5 2/3 8 earned, 5 2/3 5 earned, 7 2/3 1 earned, 5 innings 2 earned, 5 innings 7 earned. That kind of fits in with the fucking Mets right now, I think, more than anything.
Seriously.
And then we have another pitching spot taken, or if we want to bring up a Sproat, or we have Senga comes back, Minaya comes back, and then we have Severino. What did he sign for, Joe?
So here's the thing. So the Mets actually were willing to give Severino exactly what they gave Frankie Montas, 2 years, 34. And Severino wanted, his agent told the Mets they would do 240, and the Mets were like, no, we'll do 234. And he ended up getting 3 years, 67. So if the Mets were only willing to give him 2 years at 34, will they want to take on 2 years of 47 a year later than what they want to do? So I don't think that's necessarily the fit.
The problem though is now you lost Canning. The Mets need somebody to eat innings.
I agree.
Frank,
what do you think? Frank, what do you think about Zach Eflin? I brought him up a few minutes ago. What do you think about Zach Eflin?
He has a bunch of names running through his head right now. I can tell right now.
Zach Eflin.
I mean, they had a porn star on the mound today. They had a porn star on the mound with Dick Lovelady out there.
I will say, to go back to what you were just saying, Joe, I think I've been so high on Stearns. I think that Severino Montas situation is one big miss. Like, just give him a few million more and have a proven guy. I think he, liked Montas from Milwaukee, had whatever his reasons were, and I just don't think that was good.
Yeah, look, I think David. Go ahead, Frank. I'll let you go.
And another thing, until you do make a move, you've got to call up somebody. I'm not saying Tom. I agree with the whole thing of just letting Tom even get to Syracuse first. But either McLean or Sproat, and I don't want to see Blade Tidwell. Blade Tidwell, trade him. Because right now, someone actually might think that he's actually good. Blade Tidwell is not good.
I mean, he
is not good.
Not good.
His last start, he did look good. The bullpen thing.
No.
The bullpen.
Well, Joe, funny thing about that, he's not good.
Yeah, sure. So I guess it doesn't matter because he is not good.
Yeah, but no matter what you say or he does, Frank has proclaimed him not good.
Somebody rang like a bell wherever Frank is after he said that too. So it was like officially like clocked in the books right there. Ding ding. Frank, where are you?
I mean, either McLean or Sproat, one of them has to get a start. Because I cannot.
This is more calm than I thought you were going to be. We're just kind of talking through moves and all that. I expected you to be chewing and spitting. Do you think that in a couple weeks we will look back on this streak and just be like, well, that sucked? Or do you think this is the beginning of the end?
I think it's closer to being the beginning of the end. I have a fear that the Mets are going to go like 2-10 into the All-Star break and be 500 at the All-Star break. If they're going to be go from 21 over to under 500 in less than 30 games.
We shall see.
I mean, did you hear the stat they said? The Mets allowed 9 runs or more for the first time since September 2007. This feels like September 2007.
The positive
it's
June.
June.
That's the positive.
That's what I was saying earlier, is that September 2007 sucked. If October was part of the regular season, I think we would have been fine. It just happened at the wrong time. We're doing it. If you have to go through it, now is the time to go through it.
They got to make a move, though. They whether it's calling up McLean, Sproat, yes. I mean, one thing: if Trashburn does have a role, someone to be a mop up in the pen, because the starting has been so bad that I'm tired of seeing good pitchers come in and will be wasted and burnt out. Like Junker Brazelbaum. I mean, I think his arm fell off. I mean, He couldn't throw the ball
And he's
into the
overworked.
ocean standing on the pier right now.
Frank, let me hit you with this, and we got to wrap up at some point because this is going on like an hour and a half. If I were to tell you earlier, prior to the season, at the end of June, we would be whatever games over 500 and one game out of first place, would you have been happy with that?
Yeah, but these last 13 games have been the worst. They're one of the worst. Oh, by the way, here's a stat for you. Remember you were talking about Pittsburgh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a good one. I know what you're about to say. This is a doozy.
The Pirates were the worst team in baseball in 1985 and went 10-8 against the Mets. The Mets won 98 games.
That's not what I thought you were going to say, but I was saying earlier, the Pirates are just, whether it was the 80s as a little kid for me or now, whenever the team needs to win and we pencil in wins and it's because of the Pirates, we always fucking lose to them, man. It doesn't matter what era, what team, what regime, the Pirates always fuck us.
Coincidentally, in '86, they went 17-1 against the Pirates.
There you go. I mean, you do have to beat the bad teams, and I think they did a good job of that until this.
But the next 12 games scare me.
Field, or do we win 2 out of 3? Did we face them at Citi Field yet? The Pirates?
Yes, we did. The Mets won 2 out of 3. Kind of fortunate to win 2 out of 3 too.
Yeah.
Like,
But I thought you were going to say
we faced Skeens too, right?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they had a walk-off in the Skeens game, and then they had a Beatty home run, won the second game, and then they lost the third game of that series. In the second game of that series, I think Senga started, and Senga kind of like skated that game. He was like skating on the edge the entire game.
Yeah.
I think the Pirates had the left had runners on third, 7 innings, and only scored 1 run. It was like the Pirates were like 10 runners on base. They had runners in scoring position the entire game, and only scored 1 run that game. Mets won 2-1.
That's right. So
because I remember, I actually went to that game, so I remember it well. But this pitching it's killing me. It is killing me. I've never been happier to see an off day.
I know. We all agree this team needs the All-Star break badly, dude.
Yeah, but the next 12 games is not going to be easy. The Brewers are tough. They got that Jeremy, that guy that's like
Jacob Mizrachi. Yeah.
Oh fuck, we faced him on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it's him versus. I think he's slated to face. I had someone text me. He's slated to face.
No, he's going to face Blackburn.
He's facing Tidwell. Your guy.
Blackburn's the 4th of July against Stroman.
Just two young fireballers going at it. Blade Tidwell and Jacob Mizrachi.
And who's pitching on the third when I go? Peterson versus Quintana.
Peterson and Quintana? Oh, my God. All right. I want to leave on this note. Clem came up with the greatest fucking analogy I've heard in a long time. We're playing a game of Uno. And sometimes you're down to your final card and you're like, I'm the fucking best player in this game. And you don't win for you don't maybe win at all. And sometimes you hold the whole deck of cards and you're like, I'm absolutely fucked. And you just keep plucking away. A reverse here, draw 2, draw 4. Next thing you know, you're back at it. We're just playing a game of Uno.
Do you know one time I was playing Uno? And even though I could have gone out in 2 moves, I drew cards specifically so I could do a reverse and hit somebody with a draw 4 before going out.
Oh,
that's hate. That's hate, Frank. I like that. That's
toxic.
great.
Toxic.
Smiled.
I
sound like Frank over here.
I mean, who said that?
There's a game called Millie Bones. Have you ever heard of it, Clem?
You've told me about this. You love this game. You told me like last year.
Is this game from the 50s?
Yes, it's a French game. It's a French game that's where you can throw, and it's a racing game, and you have to throw. You can throw accidents, flat tires on people.
Okay.
And they have to get a repair car to continue.
So Frank, which team would you throw a flat tire on?
What team would I throw a flat tire on?
Yeah.
No, well, the Mets look like they have a flat tire.
Well, you don't want to throw a flat tire on them.
I would say
I throw a flat tire to the Phillies.
The Phillies? I'm looking at the standings. I feel like, I mean, listen, as bad as this stretch is, you're right there with the Phillies as is. I'm almost worried about maybe some of the teams behind us.
Yeah, like the Brewers
The Brewers,
in that
maybe.
wild card race.
I'm looking at, San Diego always scares me because they got some name power. But, the Cardinals, the Giants, the Reds, the Diamondbacks, they're
I
not
might be cursing things, but I think the Braves are dead.
Oh God.
And I think the Braves are going to be sellers at the deadline.
You be careful, Frank. That could come back to haunt you.
The Braves are.
Listen, I can't believe after losing to them as much as we did that we're still 7 games ahead of them. I didn't realize they were.
I'm breaking up there. It's a trouble about being on a walk when you're trying to talk. When you're trying to be on a talk show.
So
I'll see you guys later.
All right, goodbye,
Thanks
Frank.
for joining, Tank.
Listen, I don't care what's going on. Proclaiming the Atlanta Braves dead, I won't do until we win a World Series. I will never do that.
No,
even for the season, they have to have the E next to their name before I say a word.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if
was
we play them
Frank,
again,
though.
I'm definitely not saying it because then they're going to kill us from the grave.
That's what I mean.
That was calm, Frank. Maybe you guys just need me around more often.
Yeah, you're like, you know how it's like
I was a calming force.
You're smiling.
The dog next to Seabiscuit that just are the goat that calmed him down. Joe just has good vibes around Frank. You and Jenks, you guys just bring. Actually, Jenks tries his hardest, but let's be honest, he doesn't make Frank fucking calm. So yeah, Joe, you might have to be Frank's. What are you doing on Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 for the rest of your life?
9 to 5. Oh man, that's
Fleming Enterprises is a full blown.
It's a 24 hours a day, man. No rest. No rest.
I've seen many eclipses. I don't know if I'm cut out for it.
Nobody.
I'm the guy. I'm the smash glass in case of emergency. If you really need someone to talk to Frank, just give me a ring and I'll give you 15 minutes and we'll calm him down.
We're gonna need you for the next year around the dozen tournament because that's when he goes.
Oh, that's when he really loses.
Yeah, we lose.
I will say this: a week ago, I was talking about we got to get John DeMarcico on to talk about the broadcast because I'm like, what are we gonna talk about? This seems so good. We got to start talking about the SNY camera angles, and now we got to call in Joe DeMayo for the fucking the emergency. What are we gonna do podcast? But I think all things considered, Frank's smiling, everybody here calm. If it was happening at a different time of season, different story. Yeah. Middle of June? I don't even remember June of last year. Who cares about June? Who cares? Whatever.
They had the OMG concert.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember June because it was so good, but there's been plenty of June swoons. This is just another one. As long as we can make it to the All-Star break and not be in absolutely critical condition still, I think it's fine.
And tomorrow, Joe, you can listen to on the Mets pod. Are you guys dropping tomorrow?
Tuesday, I think. Tuesday. So we'll take the off day. We need it.
Yeah, follow him. PSL Fleming. He's got all the best farm system and Mets franchise. Top to bottom organization news is this guy. So give him a follow.
He's good vibes too. He's a good Mets fan follow. We followed Joe back before I even knew him. Just a good guy to just get some good takes. I mean, he's the fucking president of Edwin Diaz fan club. I'm the vice president. He jumped me right before Edwin turned it all around, and we believed in Narcos as our fucking national anthem, essentially. So
here's my prediction on I hope it's early September, but late September, let's say, a couple games to go. I'm gonna be holding my card. I'm gonna be like, Uno, motherfucker. We're back, and we're going to win. We're going to throw it down. We're clinching the East. It's not going to be in June. You can't win or lose the division on June 29th, folks. It'll be much later down the road, but we will get this stack. We're going to get some reverses. We're going to get some draw twos. We're going to get some skips, and we are going to be there at Uno on September 27th.
What you're actually going to do is you're going to be down to your last card. You're going to draw 2 more. You're going to get a draw 4, and you're going to drop that right on the Phillies.
Yeah, let's go. That's what we're talking about. We'll be there. We will be there. The trade deadline will change everything. Health changes everything. A full season of Soto, Lindor getting hot. There's just too much good that will still overshadow the bad and the injuries.
Got him.
I'm with you.
You got it.